Okay, fucking part 8 of Gaia was a fetus. There's going to be like 100 million fucking parts maybe, but anyway, it's... And some of the shit that I say to you, like, might change, okay? Because everything fucking is constantly changing. But at this point in time... Alright, so I was having a bit more think about Samaria, and how it was the sea from, like, whether or not it was the capital is up for question, and how it was a C backwards, blah blah blah. Anyway, and then I fucking realised that I think what's happened here is that whatever went down in Samaria at the dawn of time, when Jesus was around, it left a hole in our fucking DNA helix because it's paired like a C paired with another C, right? Which, when I'll show you, hang on, this is the shape. So what you'll know, the thing with DNA and RNA and whatever is when the double helix is formed, it's because the leading strand of DNA got matched with planes already. That was quick. The codons get matched up with the anticodon. Okay, so, and you'll see there, like, they have certain partners for a reason, because then they fit nice and snug, right? And so what would happen if a fucking C codon paired up instead with a C anticodon? It fucking creates a hole, which I'm thinking might be where the whole torus field came from, because, anyway, let me show you. Alright, so see there? That's two C's have matched up and left a diamond hole in the fucking middle. Maybe that's the torus field. So then I realised, like, just from watching The Chosen, and I have watched a couple of other, like, biblical movies and stuff, trying to get knowledge, but I think because the Sumerians gave all the credit to Jesus for being able to heal people and stuff, instead of realising that it was God, depends, source, whoever, working through him. Because C is meant to, the anticodon for the codons, for the nucleotide C is meant to match up with a G. And I was like, G? G? What starts with G? God starts with G. So I'm thinking that because they put all their faith into Jesus himself rather than into God for the work that he did, so they were worshipping Christ, C for Christ, right? And so that's maybe where the anticodon, anyway, who knows? Could be possible, maybe not, but fucking, that's what my amazing fucking pattern recognizing brain has put down here. So, what else? All right, so David, like, wherever this was, as David wrote, by the word of the Lord the heavens were made, right? And so if you remember how I'm saying that the Lord is Jesus, or the Father, the paternal parent, and God is Mary, the maternal parent, right? So basically he's saying that that the Lord created our heavens. Now, if we go back to this little fucking bit, if you're looking at the blastocyst there on day 5, so I've written heaven and hell, but I think that might be heaven and earth, right? And so all of those cells, all of these cells at the top here, they are what end up forming the placenta, and that actually forms out of the cells from the sperm. And so if it was from the sperm, that means it comes from our Lord, right? Which is why we think heaven. Anyway, I'm sure you can catch up the rest. All right, where's my other book? All right, so in the last video, I mentioned that maybe there were 7 or 9 gene mutations. Excuse me. So I think there's 7 mutations, but they only occurred when heaven and hell were inserted into our story. Because as you saw on that page, there was heaven and well, see, that's where it could be. Anyway, everything is up for questioning, so don't take my word for, like, I'm just trying to figure it out on my own, and it's really difficult to do on my own. Anyway, when heaven and hell were introduced, like, if that was hell, oh, do you know what, actually? No. Anyway, you'll get my point. That blastocyte, I'll show you again, just in case. So what looks like heaven and hell there, that turns into... Oh, okay. Okay, so they turn into the placenta and the fetus. So that's why it's heaven. That's when it's heaven and earth. So once the blastocyte turns into an embryo, there would be cells under. Oh, because the casing comes off. So that might be how. Anyway, my point is, there's no heaven outside of earth or hell outside of earth. Heaven and hell were just pieces of our fucking original makeup. Like, that's how we were made. Heaven and hell fucking worked together, and hello earth. But anyway, wrong book. So I think what's happened is the insertion of heaven and hell, which I'm starting to think now are, so when the DNA or RNA gets replicated, it goes in, like the ribosome, it's the mini factory, and it goes through, and then when it goes in there, there's this little fucking thing called a helicase, which I was like, helicase? Oh, hell in case. Anyway, which breaks the bonds between the nucleotides. These thingies, again, it doesn't matter that it's backwards, just those. So if you imagine them paired up, the helicase moves through and breaks them apart, and the helix becomes 2 strands, not wrapped anymore. Fuck, I lost my point for that. Oh, shit, now I have to go back now. Fucking lost my train of thought. Okay, so that's when heaven and hell turn into heaven and earth, maybe. So from inserting, so they would have been, and I don't know which, maybe they were G codons that, nucleotides that interrupted the codon patterns. And so they were our first 2. Oh, interesting. Okay. So they were our first 2. Sorry, I get down as I talk. So if I just suddenly talk to myself, ignore me. Sometimes we need expert advice, all right? So Samaria might have been one of those. And I'm starting to think the Caesarea Philippi, which I will talk to you about in another video, because this is where I've realised the Rothschilds probably come in. So I realised that fucking Epstein is an reincarnation of Captain Cook. Anyway, and I have a funny feeling that Philip the Tetrarch and Caesar Augustus they are now I think it was Amschel Rothschild and this Disraeli dude, but that's a fucking story for another day. All right. So, yeah, those 2 interruptions into the DNA line up into the fucking codons. From there, we've had 7 more mutations occur due to that, the misline, because all of the things weren't lining up the right way, so it's all a bit funny and fucked. But we're going to fix that, so that doesn't matter. All right, and then there was probably more, but I can't remember. I know I had to start the video. I had to add time because I went to check what I said, so now I don't know how long this is. But Jesus' death, so if Earth is a fetus, right, Jesus' death was just our way of understanding why Sarah is a girl, because that was Jesus' death was a representation of the fact that he passed on, that the sex chromosome that Sarah got from Jesus was an X, And so anyone who gets at conception, because the female is XX, so it's always going to be an X that she gives. And then the male at conception, if it's the Y chromosome that is passed on, you're a male. If it's the X chromosome that's passed on, you're a female. So Jesus' death was just a representation of the world trying to tell us that it's a girl. You know what I mean? Oh, there was one more thing I wanted to say now that I've fucking said that, but... fuck. Alright, it's long anyway, may as well. Okay, so here comes my saliva, have you noticed? In the Chosen, there was a part where Jesus was reciting... it was the first scroll of Moses, and he had said, "In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, and the earth was void and without form, and the darkness covered the face of the deep. Then God said, 'Let there be light,' and there was light." Anyway, and then John was it had him speaking alongside. So the way he had said it was that in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And so in the beginning there was Word, so that's like consent, okay? And I know no one really wants to know this, but Mary Magdalene was sexually abused by her father and her brothers, okay? So that's where some of our generational trauma has come from. So in this, because there was consent, it was consensual sex, in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was with God, Jesus and Mary hooking up, and the Word was God. Bang, conception. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. So anything that was made that was not anything made that was made. So something that was made already was the egg, because it's been there since Mary was conceived, you know what I mean? Well, not conceived, but during that pregnancy of her. And so without the sperm to fertilize the egg, it's just an egg that remains unfertilized, if you know what I mean. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. Talking about sperm here. And the light shines through the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it, because the egg and the sperm merged equally, 23 chromosomes from each. So that is what I interpret John's interpretation to be. Alright, that's going to have to be it, because this was really long. No doubt I will listen back and think of fucking other things I should have said, and that will be fucking part 9. But this is part 8. So I really fucking would love people to like comment. So because I know all of this, because this is mostly coming out of here, I never know if it fucking makes sense or not. Okay, so if you guys want to jump in the comments and like have some input, that would be epic. Alright, that's it. Goodbye.